A quick introduction. This is a half scale basic bodice block, and I went ahead to adapt it to an armhole princess dart. Okay, so this is what we're going to be looking at in details today. And guess what? We're going to be drafting this beautiful piece from the scratch. All right, now there are a lot of styles you can make with this pattern. Okay, now let's jump right into the video proper. You're welcome back to my channel. My name is Stella. If you're just coming across my video, you're highly welcome. Kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell because I post sewing tutorials on this channel, and trust me, you're going to enjoy every time you spend here. Okay, and to my returning subscribers, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, now let's jump right into the video proper. So we're going to go ahead and label this block. So I simply divided her bust round by 2 and I added 2 inches allowance. So we'll label. All right, now this is the back and here is the front. The next thing we need to do is to mark her neckline. All right, and we're going to be making use of the standard 3x3, but to get your neckline, simply divide your bust round by 12. Okay, so that's how to get your neckline, but I'll be making use of 3x3. So I'm starting from the back. Now the back neck width I'm working with is 3 inches. We're working with a shoulder measurement of 15. So half of that is 7.5 and the back neck depth is 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect it. Neck width of 3, shoulder of 7.5 and the neck depth of 1 inch. Now let's connect. Now pay attention to the placement of the curve. So for the back neckline, you will use the curvy part of your French curve. All right, and here we have it. I just connected the back neckline. All right, now let's slope the shoulder with 1 inch, and 1 inch is actually a standard. Now when you hear a standard, it simply means that it applies to everyone. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect the 1 inch shoulder slope to the neck width, and I just did that. All right, now let's move over to the front. So we're going to be making use of neck width of 3 inches. All right, and we're working with a shoulder of 15. So 15 inches divided by 2 is 7.5, and I'll make a mark there. We're also making use of 3 inches neck depth. Okay, so neck width 3, shoulder measurement of 7.5 and neck depth of 3. Now I'll proceed to connect all these points, and here we have it. So we're also sloping the front shoulder with 1.5 inches, and this is also a standard. Okay, so I'll connect from my neck width to the 1.5 inches shoulder slope. Moving on, we'll need to mark our chest line. And to get your chest line, you're simply going to divide your bust round by 6 and you add 1.5. All right, we're working with a bust round of 38. 38 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give us 7.8 inches. Now I need the chest line to run across the block, okay? And the easiest way to do that is to go ahead and add your 1 inch that we use to slope the back shoulder. Okay, so 7.8 inches plus 1 inch back slope will give us 8.8 inches. And I'll go ahead and mark this both on the back block and on the front. Okay, now I'll proceed to connect it using a straight line. Yeah. And here we have it. Now we'll need to label this line. So let's call it our CH, which simply means the chest line. All right, now on the chest line, you go ahead and remark half of your shoulder. Remember, we're working with a shoulder measurement of 15. So 15 inches divided by 2 will give us 7.5. I'll simply mark 7.5 on the chest line of both the back and the front. Okay, so afterwards, we'll go ahead and connect it to the shoulder slope. Now we don't actually make use of this line, so I will use a broken line to connect it. All right, so I'll go ahead and use a broken line to connect both the back and the front. Yeah. And here we have it. Now let's go ahead and mark all the vertical measurements. Okay, so you go ahead and place your tape on the starting point and we'll mark her bust length. Now her bust length is 10.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and make a mark there, and we'll mark her waist length. So her waist length is 17 inches and I'll make a mark there as well. Now I'll go ahead and repeat this same marking on the center front so that we can get a straight line. All right, so I'll mark her bust length and her waist length, and I'll go ahead and connect this. And here we have it. Now let's proceed to label the lines. So this is the bust point line, and I'll simply write it as BP, okay? And here's the front length or your half length or your waist length, okay? But I'll just write it as FL, which is my front length. Now let's move over to the back. Okay, so the back length is 15 inches, all right? So the difference between the front length and the back length is 2 inches, which automatically is her bust that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a mark at 15 inches back length, and I'll connect it using a straight line. All right, here we have it. I have it connected. Now we'll also need to label this, so I will use BL to label that line, which simply means the back length. Now let's go ahead and mark the round measurements. So we're starting from her bust round. Now her bust round is 38 inches divided by 4 will give us 9.5 inches. And I'll go ahead and mark it on the chest line. Okay, you mark your bust round on the chest line. Her waist round is 30 inches divided by 4 will give us 7.5. And we're also adding 1.5 inches that allowance to this, so giving us a total of 9 inches. Okay, now we'll proceed to connect this. So we're connecting from the chest line to the waist length. Okay, now I'll go ahead and connect this using a broken line, because we're still going to make a little bit of alteration to this as we proceed. All right, now let's move over to the back. So before you mark anything on your back, you will need to tighten your center back. All right, and I will use 0.75 to tighten my center back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect from the back length to my neckline depth using a straight line. All right, and here we have it. We just tightened the back. Now let's proceed to mark the round measurements. So her bust round is 38 inches divided by 4 will give us 9.5. Now I have my tape placed on our back tightening and not on the center back. Okay, so I'll make a mark at 9.5 inches. Now moving over to her waist length, waist round is 30 inches divided by 4 will give us 7.5, and we're adding 1 inch that allowance to that, making it a total of 8.5 inches. Now I'll proceed to connect it. All right, and here we have it. Now let's go ahead and finish up our armhole curve. So we're starting from the back. Now to do that, you're simply going to get the midpoint of that line, okay? And you go ahead and fold your tape into 2 and make a mark there. Now you'll come inwards by 0.5 inch, okay? And you go ahead and connect your armhole curve. So I'm going to be talking about the entire process. Okay, so we're not doing any fast forwarding so much here. Now for your armhole curve, pay attention to the way I placed my curve. All right, now you need to ensure that your curve is running through. Okay, is a continuous curve. All right, just like I did. So can you see that is a smooth curve? Okay, now let's move over to the front armhole curve. Now from the chest line, you will go up by 3 inches, and this is also a standard as well. All right, now at that point, you will come in by 0.75, and we will connect just like we did at the back. Okay, you use a straight line from your shoulder tip to the 0.75, and you come in with your armhole curve. Now you need to keep rotating your curve until you can get an even curve that will run through. All right, now I'll go ahead and connect my armhole curve, and here we have it. Our armhole curve, or the arm side, is ready. Okay, let's go ahead and mark our dart. Now to get your bust span, you need to do your bust round divided by 8 and you subtract 1 inch. Okay, now I'm working with a bust span of 8 inches, so 8 inches divided by 2 will give us 4. I'll mark it on the waist length and on the bust point line. All right, you don't mark your bust span on your chest line. Okay, now I'll proceed to connect it using a straight line, and here we have it. All right, now you remember our dart allowance on the front, we added 1.5 inches, so we're going to divide that into 2, so that will give us 0.75 each. Now I'll go ahead and connect my dart. All right, and here we have it. Now let's go ahead and mark our bust dart. So the front length is 17 and the back length is 15. So the difference is 2 inches. Now that difference is her bust dart. So you place your tape on the bust point line and you mark 2 inches. Okay, now I'll go ahead and connect it using a straight line to the bust point. And here we have it. All right, so let's go ahead and mark our bust span on the back block. So I have my tape placed on the 0.75 tightening. All right, and I'll make a mark at 4 inches bust span. Now pay attention to where I placed the tape. Okay, now because we need a straight line also around the chest line. All right, so I'll simply take my tape back to the center back and I'll measure everything I have there. All right, now I'll go ahead and make the mark around the chest line. So from the chest line you will come down by 1 inch. All right, now the essence of coming down by 1 inch is because you don't want that part to be a bit pointy. All right, now I'll go ahead and connect the bust span. Now you remember that we added 1 inch data allowance to the back, and I'll go ahead and divide that into 2 and it will give me 0.5 each. So I'll go ahead and connect it using my ruler to the back length. All right, and here we have it. Our back dart is ready. All right, now this is it. We have drafted our half scale basic bodice block. Okay, this is it. It's that simple. Now we need to adapt this pattern to an armhole princess dart, and to do that the measurement that you need is your underbust length. All right, and the underbust length I'm working with is 14 inches. So I'll go ahead and place my tape on the starting point and I'll make a mark at 14 inches. I'll repeat the same thing on the side so that I can get a straight line. Now I'll proceed to connect this. All right, and here we have it. This is the underbust length. All right, now her underbust round is 29 inches, and 29 inches divided by 4 will give us 7.25 inches. All right, so I have my tape placed from the center front and I'll make a mark at 3 inches. Now I'll move my tape from the 3 inches, okay, to the second dart leg, and I'll continue measuring from that 3 inches. All right, so I'll go ahead and make a mark at 7.25, which is a quarter of her underbust round. All right, now I'll measure what I have left, and I have 0.4 inch left there. Now this is not enough to tighten your underbust. All right, now I'll go ahead and make use of 0.75 to tighten the underbust, okay, on that side. Now in total I'll go ahead and measure it, and I have used 2.25 inches to tighten the underbust, and this is perfect. All right, now we'll leave the points for now. Let's move over to the armhole. Now on the armhole there's a standard rule for your armhole princess dart. So we're going to go down the arm side or the armhole curve by 2 inches. Now the shoulder tip, we'll call it 0.1. I'll come down by 2 inches and I'll call it 0.2, and another 2 inches I'll call it 0.3. All right, I just came down the armhole curve by 2 inches. Now I'll go ahead and connect using a slight curve from the bust point line to my 0.3. Okay, so you need to pay attention to the placement of the curve. All right, so I'll proceed to connect using a slight curve from the bust point to my 0.3, and here we have it. Okay, so this is it. Now from this line we will come down the arm side or the armhole curve by 1.5 inches. All right, so I'll go ahead and make a mark at 1.5 inches. I'll come in also with my French curve, and we're connecting from the bust point line again to the 1.5 inches that we just came down with. But this second line, we're going to be extending it outward also by 1.5. All right, so we came down by 1.5 and we're extending the line outward by 1.5. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and come in with my tape and I will measure the 1.5 so that I will know where the extension is supposed to stop. Okay, and this is it. I have extended the line by 1.5 inches. Now, if you notice, you see that I made use of a slight curve. Now, we're not going to leave it this way. Okay, I'll come in with my French curve as well, and I'll reconnect the curve back to the chest line. Now, you just have to keep rotating your curve, all right, until you get a perfect curve that will run through. Okay, but however yours comes out, not to worry, because we are still going to through all these dart legs so that we are sure that they are equal. All right, and this is it. Now we'll proceed to connect our underbust tightening. All right, so we're also going to make use of the French curve as well. Now pay attention to the placement as well, because you don't want your curve too much. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect from the bust point line to my 0.5 on the underbust line. All right, and here we have it. Now moving over to the front length or to the waistline, I don't like to leave mine this way, so I will go ahead and use 0.25 on each that leg, okay, away from each that leg, just so that I can give the waistline a better shape. All right, now this is optional at this stage. You can leave yours the way it is. All right, now I simply went ahead to mark the 0.5 that we made use of, all right, by the side, because in pattern drafting all your measurements must be complete. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect the side. Now you need to pay attention to the placement of your curve at this point especially. All right, you need to ensure that your curve will run through. Okay, it needs to run through to the under bust mark. If not, the moment you're done making an outfit with this pattern, your bust point area is going to be too pointed, and that's not what you want. All right, and this is it. Now I'll come in with my straight line and I will connect it back to the 0.25 that we marked on the front length, and here we have it. We are done. So I'm simply blending my lines because we don't have any pointy or sharp area on our body. Now let's move over to the back block. All right, so for the back, we're going to connect our armhole dart to our midpoint. All right, so I'll come in with my French curve also, and we'll go ahead and connect. All right, now pay attention to the part of the curve that I'm making use of. All right, so I have it placed on the 1 inch that we came down with from the chest line. All right, and I'll go ahead and connect it to the midpoint on our armhole line. All right, so I'll go ahead and connect it. Now this particular curve, we're going to be extending it outward by 0.5 inch. Remember, in the front we extended by 1.5, so the back we are extending with just 0.5. okay, now you need your curve to be even. Okay, it needs to be a smooth curve. All right, and here we have it. Now I'll go ahead and measure my 0.5. so pay attention to the placement of the tape. I'm not placing it horizontally, I'm simply following the line of the curve. Okay, and I'll measure my 0.5 inch. Now I'll go ahead and reconnect it back to the chest line. Okay, so at this point you just have to rotate your tape your curve until you can get a smooth curve. All right, and here we have it. We are done with our armhole princess dart. All right, now however your curve comes out at this stage, you don't have to fret. The reason is because we're going to be truing all the lines. Okay, we'll through all the dart lines. All right, so there's nothing to worry about, and here we have it. Now in my next video, I'll go ahead and alter this to my desired style. All right, and we will close the armhole dart, we'll alter the neckline, we'll through all the dart legs. All right, and we'll be transferring our pattern to the fabric. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Okay, drop your comments and like the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.